kind of work or have just been really busy, so.
With the public, with most things like that, and rightfully so, that's what we want them to do. It happens, their life goes back to normal, and those things like bridges and things are just, well, I haven't fixed yet. My roof's fixed.
Yeah, most people have forgotten about Hurricane Sally by now. Yeah. Right.
Couldn't remember the name.
Commissioner Wright has something.
Since we talked about bridges, I got a call the other day that I was on the road where SEC is plan is you go around and take a right and
I got to talk about that road too.
the paved stop, so that's bridges.
Right. Down at Mount Carmel Church, down there, close to the church.
They was talking about somebody like it ran off the bridge. It was so muddy and slick. It rained that night and they had to finish it the next day. And all that traffic went in there.
Right. Yeah, well, we'll check on it. I mean, we had it in pretty good shape. We used some good sanding material there when we just got that opened back up to traffic. That was one of the ones that was closed from the hurricane.
And we got some rock we can put there to help that situation, or?
We can get some.
Please do.
Yeah, if it needs it.
They even put a sign on it, said, be cautious. There's no risk, whatever, because it's kind of high out of the water down there too.
Do what you can with that, Lisa.
Okay. But the other request that we had, back to the other two bridge repair projects, or replacement and repair, we are anticipating, and we don't know yet, the ER program is really a kind of a two-part. They have two different approaches with the way they handle these projects. One way is what they consider emergency projects. They fund at 100%. And the other is what they call permanent restoration, and those are 80-20 like normal federal funds are, so we have to match those 20%. So we are trying to get 100% funding, at least on one of those. But I don't know yet if that's going to happen. But if we don't, if we have to pay 20% on each one of them, according to our preliminary estimates, the cost for both projects would be about $573,000 together. So 20% of that would be about roughly $115,000 would be what we're looking at in matching funds. So what I'm, I guess, suggesting, however you want to do that, and this may be a little bit premature, but I know when we come ask for something, you like to know how we're going to pay for it. And we may not owe anything for several months on these projects, but I'm anticipating that by the time we actually have to pay anything on these projects, that your rainy day fund, the lodging tax fund, will be reimbursed by that time, from the money that we spent on the April storms last year. So, we've done, we actually, for a couple of months ago, we finished all of the reimbursement paperwork. Everything's been turned in, and we're just sitting there waiting on them to reimburse us. So what I would recommend is to plan on using the lodging tax fund to pay any required match on these projects. And if by the time that money is due, if that fund still hasn't been reimbursed, then as an alternative, maybe use the Public Building, Road, and Bridge Fund. You have a certain amount of funding there that's set aside this year to use for resurfacing low-volume roads. And so some of that money could be used, and then later, maybe when the rainy day fund is reimbursed, then maybe you can take that out of there and reimburse the Road and Bridge Fund. I don't know, but those are really the only two funding vehicles that I could think of.
Where are we, Mackenzie, on the, what's the balance in rainy day right now?
I think I just looked at it a little while ago, it's about $283,000 in there right now. So you would have the money to cover it, even at this point before we get the reimbursement from FEMA.
And so currently, based on our previous agreements, the monthly revenue in lodging tax is just going to replenish, try to get that back to 400, correct?
Correct.
And we're barring failure of federal government 100% certain we're gonna get our FEMA reimbursement on the hurt storm, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't count my chickens till the eggs hatch, but I don't know why we wouldn't. Everything has been done properly to get that. They're just
Just takes time.
taking time to get our check.
You're looking at, so that, the reason is, were we still averaging, and I just haven't looked in this month, the last month of January, we still averaging 13, 14?
It's about 11, it's over 11,000 that we got in January of this year. It's still, it's lower than where we,
How many months out do
We're
you
at.
think we'd be before we'd have to make that match? I mean, we could be 6, 7? What do you think?
At least 4 or 5 months, minimum, probably more than that.
And so if you say 6 or 7, I mean, you're talking 66 to 77,000 of that 115 is already building back up in that account, because by the agreement, we can't spend any more of it until we get up to 400. So, I mean, you know, by what you're needing, we're almost gonna have, whether we wait on FEMA's come or not, in just monthly deposits, we'll have to have built back up.
but you can
Yeah.
spend that money for emergencies
Yes.
without it being at 4. You don't have to wait to get it 4 to
It-
get the emergency.
We had agreed that we'd give him the overage
Oh, yeah,
each
yeah.
month over 400
Yeah,
for him to do side projects that we directed him to do as a commission. But what I'm getting at is, we're almost gonna have what you need and just revenue coming in by the time you need it. I mean, there shouldn't be any issue where the money's gonna come from.
Yeah, that was my thinking. I mean, that's what I based the recommendation on, so.
Is this where we got to fund it up front, or can we get reimbursed on this one?
Well, I think if we let it locally, if the state lets it, we will not have to do that. But if we let it locally, we will have to pay the contractor and then get reimbursed. And that process, we'll be going through ALDOT. That normally takes a minimum of about 6 weeks after you pay a contractor. So, that's another issue that'll have to be dealt with at some point, will be short-term funding, a loan or something.
if it's necessary.
If necessary, yeah. Right.
We're making take it from somewhere else to keep from doing another loan.
Just too far out to really know yet. I wouldn't even try to deal with that right now.
The scary part about all that is 6 or 7 months.
Yes.
Again, we got
Yeah.
two, one totally closed and one that's way limited to nothing but basically passenger vehicles.
Anything else?
Nothing else from us.
Anything else from the commission? Okay, thank you, Ross.
Okay, thanks.
EMA, Mr. Hurst.
Oh, I'm fine. I'm gonna have surgery here for long, so I'm gonna be out for a little bit. But Mackenzie said she'd take over for me.
Unless there's a storm.
She wants me to have it done for a storm. I have a couple of things, nothing for any action tonight, but just to bring you up to date on a couple of things. Have been speaking with the Volunteer Fire Association with CJ, looking at a couple of things. We are gonna be providing them about 50 PPE packs with various stuff for all their various fire departments. We're waiting on some N95 masks to come in. Other than that, we'll be providing that to them, so all those departments will have PPE equipment. Also talked with her again about the chainsaw training, and we're working that out with forestry and probably the electric co-op. We'll work on that. So we're trying to get that taken care of, and we're discussing the possibility of a trailer that we have that was bought many years ago with Homeland Security money that's just sitting empty, of setting that up as a trailer with chainsaws and other equipment on it to respond to storm disasters when we have it, and remove that. So we're trying to work through that and work with them on those items. This is actually under current business in this goals and projects, but not asking for any kind of decision tonight, but we're going to have to make a decision very soon on sirens. We've got several that are down. We've either got to spend money on them. I've looked at what some of the other counties have done, and most of them are moving away from the weather sirens. and, publicly saying that our rave alert system is our formal means of communication with severe weather. And so I've got a resolution we're drafting. We'll get it to Mackenzie to get to you before the next meeting, but we'll probably be looking for action on that at the next meeting. And then we'll just have to look at how we market the rave system to try to get it out there. Maybe even work with the volunteer fire departments to try to get them engaged in something else to help us get people in their fire district to sign up for a rave alert. But it's either that or we got to hire someone to come in and give us quotes on these sirens to see what the cost is going to be.
Didn't we, the original plan of action,
If they died out, let them die.
yeah, the only ones we were worried about keeping going was the ones that were around the school.
Okay, well, I still need to get somebody here to test them and check them, make sure everything's good. I just want, that's what the proposal basically is, a formal resolution that we would pass. That would be the direction we would be moving, and that we would be eliminating all of those units.
And at some point, we gotta address those, because, I mean, the thought that a Cold War era siren is our means of alerting people that something bad's about to happen scares me to death.
Right.
Could we, with y'all's permission, I mean, I've got somebody I can call, or we can get Mackenzie to check. I think it would be worth getting a price on a direct mail piece. And we just put together, we've done a bunch of stuff, we ran some social media things, and the chamber helped with some of it, and we pushed it. And it just may be time to let's put, I've done some direct mail pieces through work, and they're not that expensive, and just put together a postcard that if you're a resident of Pike County, it's coming to your house that says, siren's going away, rave muffle alert, flip it over, and here's how you sign up for it. We just send it to every house in the county. I mean, I think we've, been a few years, and the more people that we've got signed up, it's probably a good idea to push it direct.
So what percentage, or do you know where we're at as far as sign-ups on there?
I'd probably say it's at 20-25% of the county. I mean, I'd have to check with Dave.
Well,
and see,
it's still a larger number that was covered.
yeah, that's
by the
pushing it. We did some advertisement and stuff like that. We created a little flyer sheet. We dropped it off at offices like the banks and stuff like that for people to pick up. But 25 would be the max, I would say.
What was the original number of the siren? 17?
No, there's 22 of them that cover
Yeah.
square miles.
Yeah.
We'd have to have 178 of them or something to cover the whole county.
Well, most counties are doing away with them. Like I say, they're doing away with them unless we want to invest any money into them.
Yeah, that rave alert was push that.
Okay. The only other thing is just a little bit of better news. I won't say it's good news, but we are seeing some, reduction in the number of cases with COVID. Hopefully that will continue to be the trend as we go into the next couple of weeks here and see what's what. And of course, vaccines are slowly but surely making their way. There's 8 mass vaccination sites today that started today in various places where you don't have one. There's one in Dothan, one in Montgomery, but we are continuing to work with ADPH on trying to get additional vaccines here and additional sites here, and utilize, all the people that we've got, including our faculty over at the university, of utilizing them to vaccinate people. So we have agreed to if we can get the vaccines, to do some type of a Saturday, Sunday type drive-through vaccination clinic, if that's what it takes.
Great.
Okay, that's all I have.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, appreciate it.
The attorney report, I'll begin the next
No report tonight.
Yes. Commissioner Copeland on Mims Creek.
Well, really, I just wanted to brief y'all on this. I know me and you've talked about it because you've got some calls as well.
Yeah.
Part of the issues that were stopping the repairs at Mims Creek, we think they've come to a point where Brundage can do those.
Okay.
They're working on that. Mr. Herb's engaged trying to work on some grant fundings for that. We're not to the point to be able to take any action, but for you guys that don't know anything about it, Mims Creek runs through Brundage, and because of silting and erosion problems, there's a lot of houses that are flooding, and a lot of backyards and fences and trees quickly going away, every time it rains, so, there were some easement issues that kept the city from addressing it the first time that they tried. Those aren't fixed yet, but they're working on it, they've asked for our help. Hopefully, we'll be able to do that through some grants. If not, then we'll just have to have a deeper conversation about the cost.
Okay.
They have engaged an engineer. The first time, they had a plan in place. You know, that may or may not be valid based off of what Mr. Hurd finds out about funding. You know, so really just wanted to, you know, put it all on you guys, put it on you guys' radar and get it on our agenda. So the easement window on this may be shorter than some of the things we do. So that's really what it's about. And then on the legislative side, you know, the session started last week. A couple of things that we've been watching. In the Senate, the jail reform bill that we talked about last meeting passed the Senate. It's now going to the House. COVID liability bill, which basically protects us, businesses, and even individuals, because assuming you're following the CDC guidelines and state guidelines, it blocks you from some immunity. That passed the Senate and is moving to the House. There's a bill in the Senate. I'm not sure if it passed this week or if it's carried over to next week, but some of the property tax sales that happened were kind of in limbo because they didn't actually happen on the court steps. They might have done them inside because it was raining and some different things, and there's been some litigation over that. We're trying to fix that. The House did pass the bill that made the COVID relief funds non-taxable through state income taxes. That goes to the Senate, and the House did pass the economic development bill had expired, so they took care of the passage of that, and that's going to the Senate next week. So hopefully all that'll get taken care of.
Is there anything new on broadband?
Yeah, I need to give you guys a report. So Pike County, we're in a lot better shape than most other counties, and I'll tell you what I'll do. Next meeting, I have to have some help. I'll bring a map in so we can kind of show. So
Okay.
the state, Troy Cable has been awarded 2 Alabama Broadband, I think it's Alabama Broadband Initiative grants to cover parts of rural Pike County. They're in the application process right now. There may be a third. We'll see. But there's also a federal project out there that's, there was some funding available in Pike County that was awarded to Troy Cable to serve several census blocks. And basically what you get to is down to the places in the county that only have 4, 5, maybe 8 homes per mile, which makes it really hard to serve. But I was in a meeting this morning in Geneva County, and they're trying to get to the point where we are in Pike County. But if y'all don't mind, remind me, and I'll put a map together and show, because I think everybody's district, well, I know pretty much your district is covered, but everybody else's district's got holes in it. And this federal funding that just came through fills a lot of those holes. There's, I won't take a guess at the percentage, but I'll have a percentage by next week that I can give you a pretty firm number, or next meeting. And it won't take long. I'll just throw the map up on the wall and show you guys where we are.
That'd be great. Thank you. Any other commissioner have anything? Okay. Ms. McKees?
Alrighty, the only thing I have under my report is the DHR board appointment, and I believe y'all have discussed that already, so we can move on from that. It'll just move down to current business. Under current business, the jail, they are working on reviewing the bids that we received to make a recommendation. I talked to TCU today, and they said it'll probably be about 3 weeks, so it's looking like it may be the first meeting in March before they can come. They'll be ready to make a recommendation once they have had time to review all the bids. The next item, the CDBG CV grant program, I believe I sent you all an email out today, and it looks like maybe Thursday afternoon works for a couple of commissioners. If some more want to come, we'll try to schedule it for about 1:15-ish on Thursday afternoon here to talk about the grant and how we want to move forward with that. If anybody else wants to come, y'all come so that we can get that on the road and get ready to start doing the application for that. Under, let's see, item number 8, the HVAC, the contract for controls, there is a copy of that agreement in your package. And like I had told you all last week, this is to be able to have the control systems and the schedules and all set at our county buildings. And it has tremendously helped our electrical bill since we instituted this back, it's probably been about 8 years ago. So I believe it's worth every penny for that.
Was this part of the agreement with them? Did we have one big agreement with Train last time?
No, we had 2 agreements. One was for the maintenance and the upkeep and that sort of thing on all of our air conditioning units all over the buildings.
About 20.
It was a little over 20, about 24, 25 last year. And you know, we rebid that because they had given us a quote. It's not a required bid, that project's not, because it's a service. And the amount that they gave us was just quite kept going up a couple $1,000s every year, and I thought it was just time to rebid that. And we did, and we were able to award that part of the contract last week or last meeting for $18,500, which was considerably less than what we'd even paid the year before. The second item was controls, but it's also a system. Last year we did a contract on it, an agreement on it, that not only did the schedule and all that we're talking about now, they were supposed to be able to go in and kind of monitor some things and look at what temperatures were at different times and let us know if it looked like one unit was working harder than it was or wasn't. I don't think it was worth what we were paying for it. I don't know if COVID kind of threw some hiccups into it because we started it right around when COVID kind of came around last year, so it took some time for them to get into buildings and check some things. I just didn't see the value in it, so I thought it would be better to go back to what we were doing and just doing the scheduling and all that seemed to make a difference more so than the other part of it. So this is what this contract is. It's just pretty much for the software and the controls for doing that.
Yeah, these 2 together still save us money from
Yes.
what we paid last year.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, it does, oh yeah. So I do have that in there, and if we can get that approved tonight, if you're okay with it, that would be great. Other than that, that's all I have for tonight.
questions for the administrator? Okay, thank you, Ms. Nothing else come before the commission at this time? The work session will now come to a close, and we will reconvene at 6 p.m. for the regular meeting.